a man is sent 1,000,000 years back in time by his archenemy. Throughout a series of adventures, he attempts to find his way home. Will he be able to go back to his own time to be united with the love of his life? Stay tuned to find out. The movie opens with a man, Commander A.R.O.G, with long hair, gray eyes, and pale skin seen at the airport. He is wearing a long black cloak and long boots. He travels to Istanbul, where he is received by his assistant, named Tihulu. Meanwhile, Seku and Arif live in Istanbul. Seka is researching previous civilizations when Arif tells her to stop. They have a sweet moment together. At breakfast, Seku asks Arif if she could give birth on their home planet Gora. Arif agrees to take her there, but has sold the spaceship. Later, Arif is seen in the market of Istanbul, where he owns a carpet shop. Arif sees his old nemesis, along with his assistants, enter his shop. Surprisingly, his old nemesis is Commander A.R.O.G. After entering the shop, Arif tells A.R.O.G to leave and uses his power to fly to scare A.R.O.G off. However, A.R.O.G tells him that they are not there as his enemies. A.R.O.G manipulates Arif to accept them as friends after he apologizes for trying to separate Seku and Arif. Later that night, A.R.O.G and Tihulu have dinner at Arif's house. A.R.O.G offers his ship to Arif and Seku to go to Gora, but Seku wants to go on their ship. The next day, Arif, A.R.O.G, and Tihulu go to look at A.R.O.G's ship. When they arrive at the hangar, A.R.O.G takes a picture of Arif, causing him to faint. Upon waking up, Arif is apprehended, and A.R.O.G has transformed into Arif's lookalike. He reveals his plan to take Seku to Gora forever. Arif tries to smack talk. However, A.R.O.G asks Tihulu to send Arif 1,000,000 years back by using the time machine. A few seconds later, Arif lands in the Cretaceous period, the period of dinosaurs. He comes across apes who have not evolved yet. Disappointed with not finding a way back, Arif starts living with them and decides to educate them. Days turn into months, and the winter season arrives. It is as cold as the present-day North Pole. Months pass by, but Arif is not able to teach the apes to evolve. Therefore, he bids the apes farewell and ventures to find a human civilization. He moves into the forest and comes across a ferocious T-Rex. Initially, Arif is frightened by the T-Rex, but soon realizes that the dinosaur is a mother protecting her offspring's eggs. Arif relaxes and adopts a friendly approach towards her. As a good gesture, the dinosaur gives Arif a huge honeycomb. Arif happily accepts it. Unknowingly, he has angered a gigantic honeybee, who stings and chases Arif, making him run for his life. Arif hides behind a tree, but due to the sting, he gets dizzy and falls to the ground. As his eyes are closing, he sees 2 cavemen on the tree. But before he can react, one of the cavemen shoots a tranquilizer at him, causing him to faint. Later, Arif gains consciousness and finds himself inside a cave, where a bunch of cavemen are saying a strange prayer loudly. It turns out they want to kill Arif, as he is a stranger. Luckily, Arif can speak their language, and he tries to persuade the leader of the clan, Dimi, not to kill him. As they are conversing, suddenly a man announces the arrival of A.R.O.Gians. A.R.O.Gians are a superior tribe led by a savage named Karga. They oppress the villagers and snatch their food and tools. This time, Karga has come to take 3 people of Dimi's tribe for a ritual. While selecting people, Karga selects Arif. Arif tries to explain that he doesn't belong here, but they shoot him with a tranquilizer, taking him along. On their way to the village, Arif gains consciousness, and one of the savages named Tasso hits him on the head with a rock. He falls off his horse, breaking his arm. Karga believes that Tasso is about to die and starts to bury him by putting rocks on him. Arif intervenes and tells him that Tasso has broken his arm and he has a remedy to fix it. Arif crafts a makeshift cast, and Tasso is happy to feel his arm again. When they reach the village, it is revealed that the village is led by Tasso's father, Kalia, also the nephew of Karga. Kalia is not happy about Tasso's hobby of making masks from tree barks and wants him to be a warrior. Kalia then narrates an incident of his father Kumo. He tells that one day a spaceship descended from space and two strange men gave Kumo a ball. Kumo ran towards the spaceship to bid goodbye, but was burnt by the spaceship engine. Kalia believes that his father is in heaven and builds a large tower to reach him. Over the years, many people have tried to climb the tower, but have been unsuccessful. Meanwhile, it is revealed that the three men that have been captured from Demi's tribe have been brought to climb the tower. A.R.O.G volunteers to climb the tower. When he reaches the top of the tower, he encounters a strange man, who he assumes to be Kumo. The strange man gets frightened and falls off the cliff and dies. A.R.O.G feels upset and descends the tower. On seeing A.R.O.G back on the ground, the A.R.O.Gian tribe is joyous, but Kalia is upset that A.R.O.G could not bring his father. However, he still forgives A.R.O.G. Meanwhile, Tasso is also very impressed by A.R.O.G's bravery and decides to draw a picture of him on the stone. A.R.O.G appreciates Tasso's art. Tasso shows him one of the most precious paintings of Mimi, who belongs to Demi's tribe. Tasso has a crush on Mimi. Seeing Tasso's love, A.R.O.G remembers his beloved wife Siku and pleads to Tasso to help him get the tools from his father. Tasso denies it, claiming it to be impossible, as all the tools are locked in a forbidden cave. A.R.O.G barters with Tasso that he will help him get to Mimi if he helps him get the tools from the cave. Later that night, A.R.O.G and Tasso sneak into the forbidden cave of Kalia. Unfortunately, both of them are caught by Karga, who takes them to Kalia. Kalia gets disappointed and decides to disown Tasso. Tasso gets angry and decides to leave the village with A.R.O.G. The next day, A.R.O.G and Tasso travel through the forest where they come across Mimi and his friends bathing in the river. Mimi is hostile towards Tasso, as he is an Agorian. Therefore, A.R.O.G tries to change Mimi's perception by showing her the tattoo of a woman on Tasso's back. Along with Mimi and her friends, Tasso and A.R.O.G reach Demi's village. A.R.O.G makes an announcement to the villagers about starting a new civilization. A.R.O.G tells Demi about the thousands of useful tools in Kalia's cave and asks for his help to steal them. Demi gets excited about the idea of having modern tools and technology. The following night, A.R.O.G and Tasso again go to the forbidden cave to get the tools. This time, both of them are successful in getting the tools. They build a cart to bring the tools to the village. In no time, A.R.O.G has everyone on board, and they start to make new inventions. Over the next few months, the village has evolved 1,000 years. During this time, Mimi and Tasso became closer to each other. Though the village is evolving, A.R.O.G is not happy with the intelligence level of the people. After a few days, Karga and his assistant again visit the village. They are shocked to see the village, especially the fountain in the middle of the village. They ask for the men to be taken to their village, but A.R.O.G denies it and humiliates Karga. After Karga is insulted, he leaves the village, threatening to destroy them. On reaching his village, Karga informs Kalia of the progress of the village. Kalia finds that his cave has been robbed and instructs them to destroy the village. After a few days, A.R.O.G and the villagers go to pick mushrooms and return to see the village destroyed. Knowing that it is the A.R.O.Gians, A.R.O.G goes to Kalia to end the fight through a football match. A.R.O.G proposes that if his team wins, Kalia will return the stolen equipment, and if not, A.R.O.G will build a taller tower to reach his father. Surprisingly, Kalia agrees to A.R.O.G's terms. It is revealed that the Agorians have been playing football in the memory of Kalia's father. Immediately, Kalia picks the 6 best players. On A.R.O.G's end, unfortunately, there is no one aware of football. Mimi tells A.R.O.G about a former goalkeeper of the A.R.O.Gians team, Chihara. A.R.O.G tries to convince him to play for the team, but he refuses. Demi sets up to be the goalkeeper, and they form a team with A.R.O.G and Tasso as forward strikers. After the team is selected, they start to do intense training. Meanwhile, Mimi and the other women prepare football jerseys for the men. The day of the big game arrives, and everyone is excited. However, as soon as the game starts, Agorians take the lead and score 4 spectacular goals. Surprisingly, just before halftime, a player from A.R.O.G's team manages to score a goal. At halftime, A.R.O.G reveals his identity of being an alien. He tells the team members about his superpowers, which can easily turn the game in their favor. He has not used them until now, but will use them for the team's sake now. Instead of being angry, the villagers encourage A.R.O.G to show his best performance. The second half of the game starts. A.R.O.G shows his amazing powers by doing supernatural acrobatics and scores 3 goals. In the heat of the game, Tasso fights with one of the Agorians, resulting in a penalty for them. Though Demi saves the penalty, he injures his hand and cannot play. With no goalkeeper on the field, Kuhara volunteers to replace Demi and blocks everything like a brick wall. With just a few minutes remaining in the game, A.R.O.G rises in the air and hits the ball with intense strength, resulting in the final goal. A.R.O.G's team wins the game, and the village erupts in joy. Kalia appreciates the team and agrees to keep the deal with A.R.O.G. Though everyone is happy with the victory, A.R.O.G does not seem happy, as he believes that Logar must have taken his wife to Gora. He plans to leave the village. But before leaving, he gives his watch to Tasso and his engagement ring to Mimi. As A.R.O.G is about to leave, suddenly a flash appears, and Siku appears. A.R.O.G is overjoyed to see his wife, but confused at the same time. He asks Siku how she managed to find him. Siku tells him that A.R.O.G is famous in the parallel universe, as the archaeologists found his ring and message engraved on the rock. She also tells him that she knew Logar had tricked A.R.O.G when he came to their house as an imposter. She was ready with a gun. She exposed him by pointing out his mismatched eye contact lens and hair parted the wrong way. Shortly after, A.R.O.G and Siku bid farewell to the villagers and return to their universe, sending Logar 1,000,000 years back. The villagers initially confuse Logar with A.R.O.G, but Logar reveals his identity by removing the voice chip. The movie ends as the villagers proceed toward Logar angrily, when a T-Rex then comes and eats Logar. If you enjoyed this movie recap, make sure to hit the like button. And if you want to see more of these, subscribe to the channel and check out our other videos.